Hey everybody, it's Daniel. Thanks for joining me. This is part 4, I think, of my 2020 edition of Android Studio tutorial. Today we're going to continue working on this inventory app. So I have Android Studio opened up. Here's the app. If I go back, if you open up the app, it should look like this. Then it has a button in the middle. We click Add to Inventory. We can type out a product name, iPod. I don't know why I'm stuck on iPods. Let's do Pixel XL. Let's do John, or I'll just put my name, Daniel. Purchased in 2000, that's not true, in 2019, I think. So right now we can fill this out and we can add a product, but if we hit Submit right now, it doesn't actually save it anywhere. So you'll notice, it doesn't save it. So like if I were to close this app, say I were to close it, just close other apps I have open up. If I were to open this app back up, I think it's called, what is it called? Daniel's Inventory, maybe? If I open this back up, you'll notice, I go here and it's not filled out, it doesn't display it anywhere. So in this part, we're actually gonna save that. So we can type out, an iPod, and when we hit Submit, it'll actually save it. Probably in a few parts, we'll make a list of them where we can add, 20 products, and then it will all save. But for now, I think it's good. Okay, so let's go back. Let's just go ahead and close. I'll just keep the emulator up over there. So I'm just going to close what you can do is you can right-click and, if I have a lot of open, you can right-click and do close all. That'll close everything out. So with Android selected there on the project pane, we'll open up App, Java, and then the first one, and then let's open up both of them, MainActivity and Add Product Activity. So the first thing, let's go ahead and let's open up. Let's start with MainActivity. So MainActivity is kind of the first train that opens up. Kind of says, hey, we're going to use a kind of template from Android, which is a screen, and then we'll have stuff like functions. Uncreate is called every time the screen opens up, or basically every time the screen appears. So when I first open up the app, like say it's closed, and I were to open it up really quick, as soon as I open it up, all the code inside of onClickListener happens. And right now we have we set up our layout, which is if you can hold down the Command key or Control key and click on there. It's this layout right there. I'm going to close it. We set up our toolbar, and then we set up our ClickListener where we listen for when somebody clicks on that button. Okay, so to actually save it, let me think of what we need to do. Let me think here. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so let's just start with trying to read something. So from SharedPreferences, let's just go ahead and start reading. So let's just come down to here, so make some space. So after, I'll get rid of that space. So open up MainActivity there. And what we'll do is after this, go to Add Product. Let's do this. And by the way, you'll notice you can type all kinds of stuff here. So it's different if I were to type up there. But if I'm inside of a method, and a method's called fun, and it begins from that to that, the closing, the opening, we can type stuff in. So I'll type, intent. You can type intent. You can type on. There's all kinds of stuff. And all of this is available because we have app compat activity up there, basically. So you want to experiment, on attached window, maybe we can do, there's all kinds of stuff you can do on start. You can kind of, there's like a lot of stuff is my point you can just do by just playing around. But in this case, we want to actually get some data from the local storage. So let's do this. Let's do getSharedPreferences. And it auto-completes for us. I'm going to hit Enter. And there's a couple of things we can put inside of here. And if it's just like that, you'll see there's an error there by the red key. If I put my mouse in there, you might not know what to do. In that case, click inside of the parentheses and do Command P, or I think it's Control P on Windows. I forget what it is. It'll tell you what it takes. So put in there, and then you'll see so it takes a name first. So the name is a string. So we'll call this database. And that can be called anything. Then the mode is kind of like, just kind of something we need to put, like, is it going to be accessible to other apps, or is it kind of just for our apps? So in this case, put a comma, and then put context dot, I think it's mode private, and I have it there. Or you can just type, I already typed it, but mode private, and just type that out. Okay, so we have our kind of shared preferences set up there, kind of. And this right here is going to actually fetch something from the hard drive of the Android phone. So that way we could just, you don't even need internet for this. So the next thing we need to do is, let's go ahead and do this. So if we give it a variable, so let's just go ahead go at the beginning of this line. So right now we type some code, but it's not saved as a variable. So to make something a variable, we type val, and then we give it a name. So we'll call it preferences equals that. So if you don't know what to do next, a lot of times if you look for variables, like preferences, something followed by val, or in some cases var. You can kind of do either one of those, but we'll just stick with val for now. So if you have preferences, let's go ahead and just make some space there. And a lot of times if you don't know what to do, just start typing like preferences, then put a dot. So put a dot, and you'll see all kinds of stuff. So a lot of times, or some cases you can actually do it there, just put a dot and be like, oh, and even if you don't know what the stuff does, maybe you can maybe some cases it makes sense, like maybe edit or, get string, maybe it'll make sense maybe a little bit later. But we'll do preferences and then a dot, and in this case we want to get a string. So a string is some text, like a name or something. So we can see it right there, get string. And if you don't see it, just put a dot and type get string, and go ahead and put enter. And this is what our name is going to, this is what it takes two things. But the first thing is what it's going to be called inside of Android. So in Android we'll call this, just go here, we'll call it for clarity, we'll call it saved product name. Now it's really important that this can be anything, but we'll use this same code in here somewhere, and whatever you type there, it just needs to be the same. We'll get to that in a second, but remember what you type there. That needs to be this. Just name anything for their databases, fine, ASDF, whatever you want. Just make sure you remember that. So that's the kind of the key we're going to get. And if that doesn't exist, we'll type this value doesn't exist. Okay, so we have that saved out. Now we're going to make another variable. So we'll just do val. We'll call this saved name. Why not? We can call it anything. So we'll do that. So now we have our saved name. And what we're going to do is we're going to log it to the Logcat. So we have a Logcat down there, and a lot going on. But we'll do this. We'll do D and then a parentheses, and we'll type it. Just type your name. I like to type my name. It's just kind of easy, just a way to do that, just for testing. And then put a comma and then another parentheses, or then another quotes. We can type a message out. We can type a message like, hi, how are you doing? And you'll notice there's a red arrow there. If you ever get a red arrow, a lot of times you could click on it and then do Alt or Option Enter, and it'll automatically import it. So what it did really quickly, if I click there, it put that line in there. So if I get rid of that line, say I comment that line out, it's going to give me an error. All I need to do is click on there and then watch at the top as I press Alt or Option Enter. It adds a line at the top there. So you can type that out by hand, but you never need to do that. All you need to do is if you see an error, just do Alt Enter, and then that'll import it for you. So like in the past decade, I've never touched one of those. Well, maybe that's not true, but this stuff you don't need to touch. It just automatically happens. I'm going to close that. So I'll just go ahead and just run this, just to show you something, just to kind of show you how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the play button there and open up the emulator. And actually, I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. And I'm going to go ahead and open up Logcat in the meantime. And you can select your phone there. You can select your app. And I'm going to go ahead and set this to verbose. And you'll see a lot of stuff going on here, just random. I can click on stuff. And as I click, maybe it adds new logs and stuff happens there. But what we're going to do is we're going to search for something. So anytime you type a D tag, it's going to log it down here somewhere. So I could search for there and try to find Daniel. But if you don't know what it is, just select verbose, and you can search the log. So I'll type out, so I tagged it with Daniel, so I can type out Daniel, and you'll see it says, hi, how are you doing? So that's kind of our message there. This message can be anything. But in this case, I'm going to do saved message is, and then we're going to put a $sign, then we'll start typing our saved name there. So saved name. It autocompletes, hit enter. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and save that. I'm going to run it and just wait for the app to load. And if you want, you can hit the trash can icon to clear that. And there, now it says saved messages. This value doesn't exist. So we're successfully hitting the database. We're hitting the storage on the phone, and we're looking for something that's called saved product name, but it's saying, you know what? We can't find saved product name, so we're just going to say this doesn't exist. If saved product name exists, then we'd say this saved message is iPod or whatever. But in this case, we don't have anything. So, and that's true because we haven't actually saved or edited anything. So what we need to do is we actually need to save something. So how can we do that? So to save something, it's basically the same kind of code. We'll get back to this in just a second. So what we'll do is, let's go to add product activity, and then the same kind of thing. We'll just go inside of onCreate method. That's our method there. Fun, and anything between those two is inside of that method. We'll just do, getSharedPreferences, and then again, our name needs to be the same. Database, I'm going to copy that and just paste it in there. And then, same thing for that. I'm just going to copy this. Really, this whole line is the same. I'm just going to copy it for practice. Got to paste it in there. And if you paste sometimes you'll get kind of this prompt. You can hit OK. Or if you get a red arrow, you can click on it and do Alt or Option Enter and then import that. But that worked for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this a variable. And we're going to call it val. We'll call it something different. This variable name can be different. So database. What's important is that this name right there is the same. So whatever you typed, so when you typed getSharedPreferences, whatever you typed after that, like in this case database, make sure it's the same as that. You just want to keep that the same. Like if I typed that ASDF and this one was database, that wouldn't work. So I'm trying to think here. Yeah, so that's basically, so what we're setting up is just our kind of, our just kind of basic shared preferences. So let's go to add product activity. We have our variable name. We call it database. We'll do database dot, and then we can type put, but we don't have put right yet. So what we need to do is we need to do dot, and then we'll see edit, I think. So type dot edit, then we can type another dot put. If we want to do a lot, we can do something else, but we'll go ahead and do dot apply because we'll do apply. So we'll go ahead and do that one right there, put an enter. So what this is saying is, hey, set up our shared preferences, basically what we had before. And then all we need to do is click, we'll do database.edit, and we're getting an error. We'll fix that in just a second. So we're going to edit our shared preferences, and shared preferences is another name for like storage on the computer. We're going to edit our shared preferences, and then this dot apply like that kind of means we're going to do a bunch of stuff inside of here. So we could save, name, year, date, timestamp, user, what color it is, the year, all kinds of stuff. We can do a lot inside of there. Whenever you see dot apply, that means basically we can do a whole lot of stuff. So put your mouse inside of there and then do put. And there's a lot we can put. We can put a number, we can put, we can put a number, we can put a string, some text. So in this case, we're going to put a string. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in, so the same way over here we do getString, there's an alternate, there's a putString. So getString actually gets it from storage, and putString actually saves it. So what's important is that this right here is the same, so I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it inside of there. So we have our name there, we have a comma, it's one more thing. So this is kind of our key, and what's the value? Our value, we'll put, what should we put? We'll put, we'll just call it iPod. So we'll hard code this for now. In a second, we'll actually make it where if you type, say I type iPhone out there, we don't want to always save iPod. We want to save whatever we type in there. But this will work for now. So I'm going to go ahead and, sorry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And you'll notice one more thing. We get an error. We need to either, we need to commit or apply. So click on there, do Alt, Enter. I think we can actually, no, we can't. But what we can do is at the end of this, whenever you see like some yellow text, you can put your mouse in there. It basically says, do commit or apply. So come down after apply. That's a different apply, by the way. So do a dot, and we can do commit. And we'll just do commit. And we can also do apply. We can do either one of those. Kind of depends on what thread you're on, but we'll do apply for now. Either one of those will save it. That'll get rid of the error. Basically, the difference is like if it happens basically immediately or like in a few milliseconds. In this case, it's really not going to make a difference. It's going to happen so fast, it just doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And just to clarify, so for our main screen, our first screen right here, we're going to actually try to get something from shared preferences. So we're going to get a string. And on our add product activity, so over here, we're actually going to edit it and we're going to put a string. So there's put string and there's get string. Okay. So let's see if this works. I'm going to go ahead and run it. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the trash can icon. And we still have our log in there. So we're going to do, this saved message, this value doesn't exist. So I'm going to go ahead and click Add to Inventory. That opens up this page. So now it should go to our Add Product activity where we add something to our shared preferences. So now I'm going to go back to the main screen, and I'm going to click there. And you notice we didn't see a new message there. We just saw one message. So kind of what onCreate does is onCreate is like the first time the screen is created. So you notice going back, we don't need to recreate the main screen. All we need to do is just pull this main screen again. So actually what's happening is onCreate isn't actually happening again. So I'm going to go ahead and just close the app, close it, and I'm going to open it back up. So Daniel's inventory. And now let's see it, because saved message is iPod. So you notice I can close the app again. I can open it up again. Saved message is iPod. So we're actually saving something to storage. So say I were to, close the app and power down the phone, say I power it off, maybe I turn it back on a day later. If I open up Daniel's inventory, you'll see saved message is iPod. So we're successfully saving iPod. So what we want to do is something a little bit different. We want to actually, so say I were to come here and type in, we'll type out Google Pixel 3 XL, what I have. So, and say I hit the save button there, it's not actually going to save Google Pixel 3. So say I were to close the app and open it back up again, you'll notice it still says iPod there. And that's because on this add product activity, we actually hard-coded iPod. So if we want to do something, we want to actually get the value of whatever we typed out in product name. So to do that, we're going to actually have to get the ID for product name. So if we go ahead and go to so open up add product activity, and if we command or control click on add product, like that, and close that, you'll see I'll go ahead and click on product name, and we need to get its ID. So in this case, we called it edit text. Let's rename that to something more useful. We'll call this call it edit text product name, hit enter, and we want to go ahead and do yes here. That should update everything. You don't need to do this, just making sure. Yeah, that's all good. Go back to design. No need. Android Studio automatically takes care of a lot of that stuff for us, so just call it edit text product name. So what we're going to do is let's go back to add product activity, and we're going to do this. What we can type here is just the product ID, so edit text product name. So just type edit text product name. It automatically suggests for us, so I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and that imports it for us, so that does that line. And again, you never need to type out this stuff. It happens automatically. So if I command Z that, edit text, if you select it there, watch what happens at the top of the code. If I double click that, it just automatically imports it for you. So we can close that. We don't really need to see that at all. So edit text, then we want to do a dot. We want to get the text from what's inside of there. And then one more dot, we need to get to string. That makes it an actual string there. So if I go ahead and save that, so it's successfully getting our edit text. It's getting the text, whatever we type in there. And then it's going to convert it to a string, just all this code we need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and save it, and I'm going to run it. Let's just see what happens. Open up the Logcat. I'm going to hit the trash can icon to delete that stuff. And again, I'm just searching for Daniel. If you want, you can like find it in there. It's kind of hard to find stuff sometimes, so I just type out our log tag Daniel, type your name or whatever name you typed in right there. So we have saved. It's still an iPod. So I'm going to go here, add to inventory, and I'm going to type in Google Cloud, and I'm going to go ahead and hit submit there. And again, I'm going to go ahead and just close the app. And we'll fix this maybe in this video, but we'll go ahead and just close the app. Just for now, we'll do that. Go to Daniel's inventory, and you'll notice it still says Daniel's string is, now it's blank. So you'll notice, hey, even over here, we said, hey, get the edit text product name, whatever we typed in there, but I'll show you what's happening. So as soon as I hit add to inventory, it's going to run all of this code. So if I were to go ahead and hit add to inventory, boom, it just did all of that code. So think about what's going on. What's not happening? You know, we're on this screen and instantly it saves that. You'll notice when I first open up the screen, there's actually nothing in there. So it's basically edit text is empty. So if I hit the submit button, I can hit it 100 times. It doesn't actually do anything. So we need to only try to get this edit text value only when I hit submit. So if I were to go back, hit that, boom, it's going to run all this code. It's going to save it to shared preferences, but there's nothing in there. It's blank. So even if I were to type out something, we don't have a setOnClickListener there. So what we need to do is we need to get the value. We need to get the ID for this button. We want to do something every time that button gets hit. So I'm going to go ahead and just close that. Let's go to add product, and let's get the ID for this button. And this button is called button. Let's name it something else. Let's call it add product submit button. And I'm making these kind of long just so it's more clear. So we'll call it add product submit button. Go back to here, and I'm going to make some space up at the top here. We'll call it button or add product submit button. Hit enter. That'll import it. Then do a dot. And there's a lot of stuff we can do, but we want to click listeners. So we'll do a set on click list. Just start typing it, and you should see a couple of them, but we want the one with the brackets. We could do that, but it's kind of, we don't really need to do that. We can do the brackets. It's a little bit cleaner. So every time we hit that button there, every time we hit the button, it's going to do all of the code between these two brackets. So everything right inside of there. So this code still won't do anything. So right now, the button does nothing when we click. We need it to do all of this code inside of there. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy, and you can go to edit or cut or whatever. I just use keyboard shortcuts. Then we're going to just paste it in there. So now every time we click on the button there, it's going to do all of this code, which basically sets up our shared preferences, kind of the local storage on Android. It's going to edit that, and it's going to put a string there. So then once we go to MainActivity, we're actually going to get that string. Okay. So now we have our button set up. So every time we hit the button, then it's going to do all that code. So like say I were to go back, say hit the button right there, none of that code's going to happen. Not going to do a single thing. But what I type out, we'll type out red Honda fit, and as soon as I hit the submit button, boom, it's going to do all that code right there. Everything's going to happen. All that code is going to happen. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make a point here, and this is kind of a cool way to debug code. So what you can do is, I'll go ahead and show you this cool little trick. So what we can do is we can make what's called breakpoints. So we want to say, hey, is this code really happening every time we hit the submit button there? So go ahead and go see where the numbers are over there. So just look for like maybe the database call, and that's on that line right there. The line for you might not be 16, it might be 20 or 10 or whatever. But just find the line that has shared preferences there. Go all the way to the left, and on this empty space right there, click and put a red dot. Okay. So basically what will happen is every time our code gets to this line right there, it'll stop for us. So I'm going to go ahead and hit a special button. It's that right there. It's I think it's called like add attach debugger to Android process. Gonna hit that, hit OK. It pulls up a bunch of stuff. But what's gonna happen is with this open, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the submit button. So watch what happens. I go boom, and it didn't trigger it. Let's go back. Are we on the wrong screen? Hey, what's happening? I'm gonna go ahead and stop that. Why did that happen? I must have screwed something up. Is that the right button? Here, let's debug this together. So I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna go ahead and put a breakpoint. I'm gonna put a breakpoint right there, and I'm gonna go ahead and attach this debugger. Not sure what's going on, but we'll debug this together. So every time we open up, this calls onCreate, it's gonna stop at the red dot right there. So I'm gonna hit add to inventory, and see, sure enough, yeah, we just got to that screen right there. So really quickly what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside of here. I'm going to make another breakpoint. So it's kind of like stopped right there. Like your code, like if you go to your app, it's like the app is frozen. The app's not going to go past this point right here. It's going to stop until I hit a certain button because it's going to stop on all breakpoints, on all red dots. I'm going to put another dot. I'm going to put another dot right there. Okay. So to continue to go from that dot to that dot, hit the play icon right there. And it's triggering that. That's kind of weird. Let's go inside of here. Why is that setOnClickListener? Maybe I'm doing something crazy. Am I crazy? I'm not sure that should be happening. You know, even so I'm going to control click on this button. That's the right button. Did I do it right? Why is it inside of there? setOnClickListener. You know what? We'll get to that in a second. Maybe I'm just totally losing it. It's like 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. in the morning. My cool example of breakpoint, setOnClickListener. It shouldn't do that. Well, maybe. Okay, maybe I'm totally confused. Sorry. Totally a noob at this. Okay, so I'm just going to forget that. Forget my breakpoint cool trick. But it is kind of a cool trick. So say every time you want to like confirm something's happening, we can stop the code there. And we can be like, just go to a different screen, go back to it, and boom, it'll stop on that screen. Say I want to put another breakpoint there, I can just continue, then it stops there. Once it does all that code, then it will actually, do something. So setOnClickListener, yeah, maybe I'm just totally confused. I don't know. We'll get to it in just a second. Maybe I'm just totally confusing you. Okay, let's try to finish this video up. So okay, I think let's get rid of my fancy breakpoint dumbness and let's actually do something. Okay. So let's do this. Let's do, what should we do? I think let's run it. Let's go ahead and run the app. Oh, maybe that's what I didn't do. Run it. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and set a breakpoint inside of there because I'm curious about something now. So I'm going to go ahead, so set a breakpoint and then attach the debugger. I'm going to go ahead and click add to inventory. Okay, I didn't run the code. That was my problem. So every time you set, so after, yeah, that's what it was. So if I were to write some new code here, write a bunch of new code, and then set a breakpoint, well, the code actually isn't on the app because I didn't hit run yet. So you write all of your code, hit the run button, wait till it comes up, and then click the attach to debugger button there. Because see, right now this code isn't even in the app right now. Like I just typed out a bunch of code. So that's what happened. I typed all this code out here, but I didn't run it. So I'm going to go ahead and just do it. I'm going to Command Z all of that. My ASDF. Okay, that's what the problem was. You have to run your code. And I'm going to go and save it. I'm going to run it one more time to be sure. And I'll wrap this video up. So make sure it runs. I'm going to go ahead and attach the debugger. Go ahead and hit OK there. Now our debugger is set up. And I'm going to set a breakpoint right there. So we can just browse or app, whatever. I'm going to hit add to inventory. I'm going to type out, this is the, okay, what's outside my window? I see a black pickup truck going 70 miles an hour down I-35 out my window. I'm in Austin, Texas, by the way. So I'm going to go ahead and, so I have my breakpoint set. Oh, I don't have my break. No, I do. Yeah, I have a breakpoint set up there. So it should stop every time it gets to there. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my submit button. And boom, immediately it highlights that line and pulls up all this scary looking stuff. and it lets us know, hey, it's actually doing this code here. So our setOnClickListener is happening. You'll notice when I first pulled up this page, it didn't trigger that. It's only when I hit the submit button did it trigger that. So it's gonna, the app's just gonna freeze there until I hit that button. Then it does everything else. Okay, let's go back to our Logcat, and hopefully I didn't confuse you. I'm gonna go ahead and just close that. So now our black pickup truck should be saved to database because we did all of that code there. We set up our shared preferences, we edited it, then we put our string. Our string is that edit text there, that field. Okay, that should have worked. So I'm gonna go ahead and close the app. Okay, moment of truth. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna, what you can do is you don't have to have that, you don't have to search for something, but make sure you have your proper emulator and app selected, verbose. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up Daniel's inventory. And we could look for here for the saved pickup truck, actually see it, or we can just type out your name here. So we have our debug thing there, so whatever you typed out there, I can even type out save message. So I'll type out saved, and you'll notice there is our saved message, and it is a black pickup truck. So we can save it to something else. We'll do it, what do I see? I see a slow. There's actually traffic outside my window now. It's going like 10 miles an hour. I'm gonna go ahead and there's traffic. Yeah, trucks are just stopped. Save that. Go ahead and close it. And I'm gonna open it, and we'll fix this. We'll fix it opening and closing it back up again. We don't really have to do this. We'll fix it in the next lesson probably. But let's open it back. We're doing this for now. So now there's our slow Penske yellow truck, just going down. 5 miles an hour. I can, let's see where it is. I don't see it anymore. It's gone. Okay. So we're actually saving something. Let's do one more thing. So instead of displaying this in our Logcat, let's actually display it in our app. Let's like put it near the top left. So let's put our slow Penske yellow truck near the top left. We can do that really quickly. So let's go ahead and close that. And I'm gonna we're done with that. So let's open up MainActivity, our main screen. Actually, let's do our layout first. So go to our MainActivity, or for our activity main, Command or Control, click on that. Here's our layout. You might be in text or design mode. Let's go to text mode, and let's drag in a text view. Let's put it in the top. Let's put it in the bottom left. Why not? Just kind of drag it there somewhere. And now it's using constraint layout, so put it on the top left. Yeah. What are the constraints? Is it inside? We're not using constraint layout. Never mind. We're using, okay, so, never mind. What should we do? I don't want to switch this all to constraint layout. I know what we'll do. Command Z that, get rid of that. Just really quickly, we'll just edit the, oh, my bad. So don't open up activity main. Go to layouts, go to content main. This is where it is, okay. And this is using, okay, never mind, I was confused. So yeah, so basically if we go inside of activity main, it looks like this is our main, looks like that's our screen there, but actually if we go inside of the code, it basically just says go to content main. So just, sorry for confusing you, just open up content main. And this is constraint layout, so this will work. So just grab a text view and just drag it, there somewhere. And again, we did cover this in a previous lesson, this video is getting kind of long. Click and drag, put it there. Maybe you want to give it some spacing, just put it there. The ID is going to be our saved product. We'll call it last saved product. Hit enter and boom. So now we have access to that. So now just type out last saved product. We can come here and we'll do last saved product, and we want to set its text. So our text there should be .text. We want that to equal something. So this is not an if statement. We're just assigning something. So I need water. So I seriously got to stop this video. We'll do one more thing. So we have access to our saved name there. So we'll do saved name. So a little bit of code, just that line right there. We're going to say, hey, get our ID, which is that text view, and set its text to whatever saved name is. And saved name is basically whatever that's our get product, so whatever we've already saved. So save it, and let's run it, and what did I do? Oh, the wrong button. That's the run button, sorry, at work I do the wrong button. So just hit hit that button right there, by the way, just to be clear. And let's open it up, and now it says, oh, yellow Penske truck. So you notice I can open and close this app again, and it's actually saved to the database. So it's actually always going to be there. I can save this to something else. I'll do guy on a motorcycle. Again, hit the save button. And if you go back, it's not going to be there. And we'll fix this. Close, force close the app. Open it back up, and there's our guy on a motorcycle. So you notice this saves really quickly before this 35-minute video ends. Really quickly, you'll notice like it saves to shared preferences. But how do you clear this? What you have to do is you have to go inside of, to actually clear storage for your app, you go inside of there. So say you have Snapchat or TikTok and you just want to nuke everything. What you can do is you can look for the app and you can go to storage. Never mind, you can go to apps, wherever that is. Apps and notifications. We can go to all of our apps or whatever, and we can look for Dan's inventory, and we can say, hey, Snapchat, or in this case, this is our inventory app, but say you want to log out of Facebook, you can always go into the app and log out of Facebook, or the nuclear option is to just storage and cache, and we can clear storage. So this is like, if you open up Snapchat and you clear storage, it'll log you out. It'll delete. It won't delete your snaps. It'll delete your saved stuff. Or if you do it on Facebook, yeah, you can always log out of Facebook on the app, or you can just, this is the nuclear option to just clear everything. In this case, I open up Dan's inventory and I'm going to clear the storage. So that clears shared preferences. So now if I open up my Daniel's inventory app, we'll go back to this value doesn't exist. So that's our default value. So we just cleared it, so that doesn't exist. So if I were to go in here and do one last time, and I'll end this video, I promise. We'll do, look for a good car. Green Jeep. Going really slow, kind of like maybe a green Jeep driver. I don't know, just stereotypes. Again, gonna open the app back again, and green Jeep going really slow. So we've actually saved stuff. So now maybe we want to actually make it where we can save something and then go back, and then it actually updates immediately. We'll do that in the next video. We'll also do the other stuff. We'll save our year, and we'll save our owner and year. And then in the video after that, we'll try to think of what we can do. Yeah, in the video after that, we will try to make a list of products. So say instead of just listing one product there, maybe on this screen we want a list, so we can scroll through the list of 20 products. We got our Jeep and our slow Penske truck and our iPod and our Pixel or whatever. We'll actually do a list of all of that stuff. So we'll do a list, probably 2 videos from now. Anyways, subscribe. Oh, one last thing. So I decided I'm only going to make videos on the weekends, so only Saturdays and Sundays. So it's just going to help out with stuff. I work during the day. I don't do this stuff during the week. So one more thing I want to show you. So I want to show you the app I built at work. So this is just the app I built at work. So if you want to see what I do at work, Google my HEB. That's where I work at HEB, and the app is called my HEB Android. You can get it in the App Store also, but go ahead and click on this app. And this app here has a ton of downloads, at least 500,000 downloads. So it's very successful. So if you want to see an app I helped build, kind of cool here. Like this app literally, what did I do? I didn't do that screen. Did some of that screen. Made some of that screen. I think it got redone. Yeah, what is that? If you want to download an app and actually see a really cool app that I helped build, download the My HEB app. And if you're not in Texas, you're not going to be able to use it. But if you want to see this app is pretty successful. 500,000 downloads. A team of 4 to 12 Android engineers built this app, and it's wildly successful. And if you want, you can just open it up and kind of browse around, see what it does. You can shop for groceries. You don't actually have to buy anything, but you can create an account, continue as a guest and kind of browse stuff and just see the app I helped build. And maybe, yeah, some of this kind of stuff is stuff we do. Like, we use, in this case, in some cases we use encrypted shared preferences for like some stuff. But like, yeah, we have onCreate and we have setOnClickListeners and we've got our layouts and we've got like buttons and we drag in stuff. I mean, this is how we build an app. And when it comes time to, we can actually submit it to the App Store and actually have something that others can download. Maybe you can show off to your friends or whatever. This video is officially 40 minutes, kind of long. So I think I'm going to stop. So I'll see you probably maybe today or maybe tomorrow, but definitely by next weekend. Yeah, probably another one today or tomorrow. So subscribe if you want to see more, and leave comments if you have problems, and I'll try to answer them. Okay, see you later. Thanks.